personal relationships or your personal life. Did you ever feel any of this? And if so, how did you repair it for yourself?
Well, yes, definitely. Truth be told, um, I was married twice before,
Mm-hmm.
and three's a charm.
Mm-hmm.
My marriages suffered because I was literally married to my restaurant and bakery.
Mm-hmm.
I never had the feeling that if I were to let it go, I would, be taken care of, or I didn't need to be so dedicated to my restaurant. I never had that feeling. I felt that this is something that the person that I decide to spend my life with had to realize, either they were going to be with me on it and support me, whether from afar or within,
Mm-hmm.
or it wouldn't work. And I'm not saying, I'm making it sound like that it was fine for me, that there was no heartbreak. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
it was
Mm-hmm.
incredible heartbreak, great distraction,
Mm-hmm.
when you're busy and you're working, maybe to a fault,
Mm-hmm.
a great distraction in a relationship. And finding my husband, we ended up working together, and um, that's something very difficult, and it remains difficult. You have to know when to let that person do their thing, and he has to let me know when, let me go and do my thing. And
Mm-hmm.
prior to COVID, the pandemic, our
Mm-hmm.
lines, our roles were very well defined.
Mm-hmm.
Who did what, when, and where. Now, because of COVID and the change in our business, and the restructuring of how we do things, and the constant restructuring, because we go into, whether we could serve or it has to be takeout only or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we're both sort of lost. My
Mm-hmm.
husband in particular, because of, he did a lot with the bar and the live music and dealing with
Mm-hmm.
musicians. And, I did less baking than I'm doing now. I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
more baking than I've done in 30 years. So yeah, it takes its toll. You have to have a good, strong relationship. You have to learn to say sorry, and to
Mm-hmm.
see what that other person is going through. And, our roles, are predetermined, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
men
Mm-hmm.
are men men are strong and are supposed to be, the breadwinner. And even
Mm-hmm.
though my husband is a true feminist in every sense of the word, at the same time, he's still, from a small town in outside of Reading, Pennsylvania, so
Mm-hmm.
there's times where it's difficult for him that I'm such a, upfront, strong woman.
Tell me a little bit about, you said something a little bit earlier about being concerned that you didn't have backup or that it was all sort of on your shoulders. Has that been something that you felt since being a younger woman, or did you take it on and feel it when you were experience it when you were setting up your business?
I recently ran into a very old friend of mine, 40 years ago. We were friends, and she was explaining to her children how I was always the serious one. And I found it really interesting because I never viewed myself that way. I'm a child of the 80s, and I did my fair share of partying, and
Mm-hmm.
I never really saw myself as a serious thinking person, but perhaps I was, and I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My folks were great. I had a sister 16 months older than me that was special needs, and it made me grow up pretty quickly. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's, I watched my parents work really hard, and I had to, I mean, what was my job in the household as the youngest of four? I cooked for my
Mm-hmm.
mother. She would
Interesting.
call me, yeah, she would call me from work, tell me what to make, and I would prepare dinner. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I hated it, but it
Mm-hmm.
really sparked on, my mother was, first generation American. Her parents were
Mhm.
from Italy, so the food was
Mhm.
always great.
So opening your own business, you kind of came in with the idea that you couldn't count on anybody.
Mm, yeah, I think I thought that I could handle everything, I
Mhm.
think I had that misconception.
And when you weren't able to handle everything, how did you take care of yourself?
I learned to ask for help.
Mhm.
It was a huge move. I was the type of person who would put in and take out my own air conditioners in my apartments in
Mm,
Manhattan.
mm,
And
mm,
now here I was saying, can you whatever get me a glass
mhm,
of water was
mhm,
tough for me.
mhm. So you kind of learned how to lean on people.
Absolutely. And
Did
how it's actually it's great, it's
Yes, it is.
adapting the ability to tell people I need help is just a wonderful thing.
Mhm, mhm. And did it happen more intensely after you were sick? The idea of being able to ask for help?
For sure. Yeah, I would say that. And that's 15 years ago. So it was probably, no, it's more like, yeah, about 15 years ago. It was basically halfway through my ownership, right? I didn't even think of it like that.
Hmm. Hmm. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like your upbringing has helped or hurt your mindset for success?
I think it's helped. My parents were very hard workers. My father had several jobs trying to make ends meet. I wanted, more for myself. Um, I think that they were very nurturing in the fact that whatever I did, they both told me,
Mm,
"Oh, you're the world's greatest artist."
mhm, mhm.
I get into art school on my first day in class, and I see what really great artists are, and I
Right.
was very upset with my parents. You told
Mhm.
me I was great, and look. Uh, but no, I think it hurt me. I mean, helped me. I'm sorry. I think it
Mhm.
it was a positive thing. They were always encouraging me. I had my first job at 14 years old, so definitely it
They
helped. It
provided
helped.
the support and foundation for you to be
Yes,
able to do what you wanted to do, follow your
right,
passion.
right.
Nancy, unfortunately, we are almost out of time. I want to thank you so much for sharing with our listeners your motivation for why you chose to become a female entrepreneur and also how you overcame some of the psychological issues that you encountered during your inspirational journey. Where can people reach out to learn about your restaurant?
Our website is waterwheelcafe.com.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
This podcast is brought to you by Women Entrepreneurs Global, the first startup studio and digital DIY startup platform for women. For more information on her guests, this podcast, and many other female founder programs, please visit womenentrepreneurs.global. We believe in open and non-stigmatizing dialogue about the hidden psychological difficulties experienced by many successful entrepreneurs and highlighting the strategies used to overcome them, such as the fear of failure, of not being good enough, and that loud, chattering internal critic is critical to helping other founders achieve success. Please join her next week for more Mindset for Success stories. That was Dr. Leslie Knudsen, and you can drop her a line at dr.leslieKnudsen@dr.leslieKnudsen.com.